13. Buyer's market, seller's market, and knowing when the market has shifted. It is now Friday morning, and Sarah is preparing for her weekly listing update with Mike and Jennifer. When the Reynolds home first entered the market at $625,000, Sarah knew there were competing properties. What she sees this morning is different. 5 additional homes in the Reynolds general price range have become active. 2 competing sellers reduced their prices, and another similar property just closed below the Reynolds asking price. Sarah's CMA from the original listing appointment is still useful, but the marketplace surrounding the Reynolds home is changing. This is one of the most important lessons in pricing a listing. The market does not freeze on the day the listing agreement is signed. Agents often describe conditions as a seller's market or buyer's market. Those terms are useful, but don't treat them like permanent labels. In a seller's market, available inventory may be relatively limited compared with buyer demand. Well-positioned properties may receive stronger activity. Marketing times may shorten, and sellers may have greater negotiating leverage. In a buyer's market, buyers may have more inventory to choose from. Properties may remain available longer. Sellers may compete more aggressively, and buyers may have greater negotiating leverage. But real markets aren't always that simple. Imagine somebody tells Sarah, Arizona is a seller's market. What does that actually mean? Does it mean every property in Arizona is experiencing identical demand? Of course not. A luxury property in Scottsdale can face very different conditions from an entry-level property in Mesa. A condominium may experience different demand than a single-family home. Even 2 price ranges within Gilbert can behave differently at the same time. This is why experienced agents become cautious about broad statements like, homes are selling immediately everywhere. Sarah needs to understand the market surrounding this property. She calls Mike and Jennifer and tells them what she is seeing. Mike responds immediately, we've only been listed for a couple of weeks. I'm not reducing the price. Sarah doesn't argue with him. Remember from Section 9, the seller makes the pricing decision. Sarah's role is to make sure Mike and Jennifer understand the information available to them. She explains that 5 new listings mean buyers now have additional choices. 2 price reductions suggest competing sellers are adjusting their strategies. The new closed sale provides additional market evidence. None of those facts automatically requires the Reynolds to reduce their price, but ignoring them wouldn't make the competition disappear. Then Jennifer asks, how long is too long to be on the market? That's another question without one universal answer. Days on market can be useful, but context matters. 10 days might feel long in a neighborhood where comparable properties routinely sell in 3 days. 30 days might be perfectly normal in another property category. Market time needs to be considered alongside inventory, price range, condition, competition, financing environment, seasonality, and other relevant factors. There is also buyer psychology. Imagine 2 similar properties appear online. One has been active for 2 days. The other has been active for 75 days with 3 price reductions. What questions might the buyer ask? What's wrong with it? Why hasn't anybody bought it? How motivated is the seller? Those questions may arise even when absolutely nothing is physically wrong with the property. Longer market time can influence negotiating behavior. That doesn't mean Sarah should panic and recommend a price reduction every 7 days. A price reduction should be strategic. Before recommending one, Sarah should look at the entire picture. Are buyers finding the property online? Are they scheduling showings? Are the photographs effective? Is the property easy to access? What does the showing feedback say? How does the condition compare with competing listings? Have new sales occurred? Are competing sellers reducing prices? Has buyer demand changed? For the Reynolds home, Sarah sees a very specific pattern. Buyers are showing up. Buyers like the property, but buyers are not writing offers at the current price. That's meaningful. Now imagine the opposite situation. Suppose Sarah had almost no showings. That might cause her to look at different issues. Perhaps the price is preventing buyers from considering the property. Perhaps the photographs are poor. Maybe the showing restrictions make access difficult. Maybe the property isn't reaching the right audience. This is why a listing agent should diagnose the marketing strategy before assuming every problem has the same solution. Mike asks, what if we just wait? Prices could go up next month. They could. They could also remain relatively stable or move differently. Sarah should not pretend she knows exactly what the market will do. Here's where agents sometimes create risk by trying too hard to reassure the client. They say things like, don't worry, prices always go up, or I guarantee we'll get your number if we wait. Those statements may sound comforting, but Sarah cannot guarantee future market behavior. Her better response is, we can evaluate the current information, discuss your goals, and decide what strategy makes the most sense based on what we know today. That's professional advice without pretending to predict the future. Sarah sends the Reynolds an updated market report and documents their conversation. Mike decides to keep the price unchanged through the weekend, and Sarah respects that decision. But Sarah also establishes a plan. They will review showing activity again Monday. They'll look at any new competition, pending listings, price changes, and feedback. If the market continues signaling resistance, they'll revisit the strategy. This is something good listing agents do throughout the listing period. They don't disappear after the sign goes up. Your initial CMA is a snapshot of the marketplace at a particular point in time. Your ongoing listing strategy needs to become a moving picture. By Monday, the Reynolds have another 11 showings, but still no offer. Jennifer calls Sarah. I understand what you're saying about price, but before we lower it, is there anything we can do to make the house show better? Absolutely, because price is only one part of positioning a property effectively. The buyer's opinion starts forming before they ever reach the kitchen, and sometimes before they even walk through the front door. That's where we'll go next in Section 12. First impressions, repairs, decluttering, and preparing the home to sell. Online discussion 1. 5 competing listings enter the market after Sarah lists the Reynolds home. Why should Sarah discuss this with the sellers? Answer. New competing inventory changes the choices available to buyers and may affect the Reynolds home's market position. Sarah should communicate relevant market changes so Mike and Jennifer can evaluate their pricing and marketing strategy using current information. The additional listings do not automatically require a price reduction, but they are relevant to an informed seller decision. The Reynolds home has received many showings, but no offers, and multiple agents have commented on price. What should Sarah consider? Sarah should evaluate the pattern together with other market information. Strong showing activity suggests buyers are interested enough to visit the property, while repeated price concerns and the absence of offers may indicate resistance to the current positioning. Sarah should communicate that information to the sellers, while also reviewing condition, competition, marketing, access, and other factors before making a recommendation. Mike asks Sarah whether waiting another month will guarantee a higher sales price. How should Sarah respond? Sarah should not guarantee future market performance. She can discuss current inventory, recent sales, buyer activity, market trends, and the Reynolds goals. But future prices cannot be known with certainty. Her role is to help the sellers make an informed decision based on available information rather than promising a particular outcome.